Hi folks, and welcome back to Meaningful Money. Okay, this is Rinsey Cove. Quite a while since I've been here. There's a sort of fabulous old mine stack just up there, and then this pretty amazing cove, and it's a properly sort of interesting sea day. Not sure how much you can see exactly. It's quite difficult to place the camera when it's quite so windy, and it looks as if I'm probably going to get rained on at any minute. So let's crack on, shall we? Carrying on our sort of retirement income factors, the factors which will determine what sort of form your income will take in retirement. These are the things you need to be thinking about as you approach retirement, and remember that is taking an income from your pensions, nothing to do with stopping working or anything like that. These are the things you need to be thinking about and talking to your advisor about. They should be asking you these things so that your advisor can best sort of set up your income to serve you and your needs and your tolerances for various things like risks. So we talked about risks and income so far. We had a little detour last time to talk about junior ISAs, nothing to do with this at all. And we still got sort of death benefits, what happens on death. We've got costs, and we've got your health still to talk about. So well, let's talk about death benefits. As ever though, before we get into the meat of that, my friends down here in the bottom right hand corner, Seven Investment Management, who sponsor the show, I have to say thank you to them, and I love to say thank you to them. They're good friends, and I really appreciate them sponsoring Meaningful Money. So death benefits, okay? As ever, I'll keep sort of mentioning this, but when you're thinking about what form your retirement income should take, you must start with what you want, and your advisor will fit the product to match. Okay, so notice here, we're not talking yet about products, we're talking about factors. I'm on the intersection of two footpaths here, so people may be walking past in a minute. So we're talking about factors, we're talking about things like death benefits and risks. We're not talking about annuities and drawdown yet. Products come second, last even. It's factors which are more important. So we've talked, this is about death benefits, so we've talked about mortality risk a few videos ago in our risks one, which is the risk that you might die too early, that you might live too long, and that your money might run out, things like that. We've talked about that. So now we need to just sort of put a little bit of flesh on the bones about death benefits, what you would want to happen with your pension when you die, because it happens to us all, unfortunately. So the first thing to think about is spouse's pension. Assuming, of course, you have a spouse, which is pretty important, or maybe some other financial dependent who you would want to benefit from your pension, what's left of it, when you die. Okay. First question is, do you want to provide for them? Very important. Maybe your spouse has their own provision, in which case they don't need you to provide for them. That way you can get better income if you're only looking out for yourself. I'll be a couple of minutes, is that all right? Good. Apparently so. So, do they have their own provision? The first question really is, do you want to provide for a spouse or a dependent relative? If you do, then that sort of eliminates some options and brings into play some others. The second thing is, what form would you like that provision to take? Would you like your dependents to get a lump sum if you die early from your pension fund? Or would you like your income to continue in some form to them? Which would be more useful? Depends on your circumstances. It depends on the dependent. That's a ridiculous sentence. That you would want the money to be left to. So to think about the form you would want that provision to take. And then finally think about what would happen if you die first. Because that's, whether it's 50% likely, I don't know. It depends on your genders, depends on your respective health and things like that. What is the health of both parties? Remember that providing for a spouse or a dependent will cost you. So is it worth paying that cost? Or do you, instead perhaps take the risk that you will survive them? You can only answer that question for yourself, but your advisor should be able to guide you. So, 3 very quick questions. Do you want to provide for a spouse or dependent at all? Is it necessary? If so, what form would you like that provision to take? A kind of a lump sum or a continuing income, or maybe even both? And thirdly, ask the question, what would happen if if they die first, I should say. If your spouse dies first, would you feel that you had wasted, sounds like a horrible phrase to use, wasted your money if you had bought provision for your spouse and then they die first? Answer that question for yourself. You need to decide what you want to happen. So forget about product for now and decide, if I die first, what do I want to happen to my spouse? Does it matter if my spouse dies first? Does that affect my choice of income? Answer those questions for yourself, and your advisor hopefully will do the rest. And we will do the rest as well, because once we've dealt with these factors, we're going to look at what your options are and look at some case studies. So we'll come back to that. Thank you for watching from a very, very windy and imminently wet Rinsey Cove. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.